with forecasts and deep dives on natal charts and queer perspectives on the planets, transits, and more. A group discussion about upcoming transits with tips on how to read these transits in your own chart. Hollis offers years of wisdom and natal chart knowledge with Brighthawk's positive perspective and LeKross's inquiry. We offer the complete queer astrology experience. Welcome to RainbowSoul. Please help us by subscribing, sharing, and commenting and reviewing. You can also learn where else RainbowSoul is offered on our website at RainbowSoul.show.
Hi, welcome everyone. Welcome to RainbowSoul. I am Hollis Taylor, and I'm one of your astrologers today. And, you can get readings and stuff with me if you look in the description. It's clear where you can go to get that. And
hi there, I'm Brighthawk. I'm an author, an artist, an astrologer, and happy to be here and review the week of June 10th to the 16th.
Right. And we do miss LeKross. Good grief. Pride Month gets really busy, you guys. So I'm sorry if I'm late posting these. That's why we're doing this live, because we're just now recording this. And then I'm just going to post it so you guys can see it. But anyway, Pride Month can get a little out of hand for all of us. It just does. And so that's pretty much what's going on. But we're still here trying to bring it through for you. I'm sure you're busy too. If you go to even one Pride, I'm sure, and some people go to numerous Pride events, and I know that sometimes some people are doing some cool stuff, like drag queens and drag kings, and or maybe you're going to support somebody or whatever it is. Happy Pride to you. Happy June. And we're glad you're here and now. We're glad you're taking the time out to listen to this. Okay. So I want to invite you to take a deep breath, put your feet flat on the floor. And take a deep breath. And I'll just allow it to release. And just take this moment to allow any of the tensions from today to fall off of you and just roll off you. Thank you for being here. Thank yourself for arriving and taking this moment to do this little meditation. And now, as you take that deep breath, I invite you to imagine yourself walking under the night sky. The stars above your head fully taking up the sky. As far as the eye can see, you can see stars. And as you allow those stars to unfold across the sky, and you take that in, the vastness of the universe, one constellation stands out to you. It highlights and zooms into your view. The constellation of Taurus, in its beauty and passion and intimacy. In its gentleness and its strength. Standing out to you within it enters the planet planet Mars. Now Mars is slightly dull there in front of you. Not as bright as it usually is. Not as fast. And instead, while Mars is in Taurus, you'll feel more precise, more exact about your movements. Maybe not as compulsive, a little bit more grounded. Taking that moment to take a deep breath. Because Mars brings action. Mars brings action and movement. Sometimes can bring disagreements. And while Mars is in Taurus, you may feel it more grounded, less explosive. Less impulsive. And as you settle in, knowing that there is a sense of peace with Mars there in Taurus, you can relax, take a seat, and sit back as Mars and Taurus pull themselves back up into the sky. Back into yourself with a sense of peace, a sense of knowing, and holding on to that groundedness that is Taurus, that is Mother Earth. And I invite you to just take this moment, wiggle your toes and stretch your fingertips and come back into your body in this moment, in the here and now. Well done, Bright Hawk. Well done. Well
Thank
done.
you. Likewise.
All right. Well, I bet you can guess what the theme of this week is. So let's bring the the charts up. All right. Now,
Ta-da.
ta-da, there we go. From June 10th to June 16th. So of course today is the 10th. And we still have tons going on in Gemini. Like the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, all in Gemini. And it's just, if you have anything in Gemini, I know I felt each planet go over. I have Mars and Gemini, and every single one I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Okay, so hang in there. As you get through, it depend on where Gemini is in your chart. So mine happens to be in the 8th house, which is often kind of a challenging house. It usually has to do with like death or shadow. For me, it sometimes has to do with the internet and people on the internet. And because I think it's because it's Gemini.
Well,
Gemini rules the internet.
And Gemini is ruled by Mercury.
Right.
So communication. So it's very powerful, the three of them, Venus and the Sun and Mercury, they've been together for more than a week in that pretty close conjunction of Sun and Moon, just really close together. You can almost feel them like having a conversation, like, so what did you think about?
Right. Yeah.
And of course, if it's Venus, it's going to be all about what do you love, who are you dating, what's going on,
what feels good,
yeah,
what's good for you,
yeah.
And the Sun is like, what way do you want to go,
right?
And then
Mercury, communication,
and Mercury's about saying it out loud.
Yeah.
So
that stellium in Gemini, that multiplicity of energy is rather amplified. And of course, Gemini is air, it's mutable air, and which means that they can change quickly. Things might have to be done twice because Gemini's the twins. And I don't know if you've been finding yourself having to just like, oh my God, I have to do it again. Okay. I had a little art project where apparently there's something I have to do.
You have to do it again. So it's like, twice. Yeah.
All right. It's like, just try.
At least maybe the second time might be better. Maybe.
You just always hope the second time goes faster and you get better quality,
Right. So hopefully you're navigating this time okay. It really depends on where Gemini is in your chart of how it's working for you. I will say, when Jupiter entered Gemini, it tried to make wrongs right. So, and we'll continue to probably do that as it works through the chart. As it works through the sign, it will probably continue to try to make wrongs right, which I hope is true. I know I've had to make some tough decisions as Mars. So Mars moved into Taurus. Today's the 10th. So like yesterday, over the weekend, you felt Mars move into Taurus. Maybe it's in a square to Pluto. So I can see the tough decision part there that I had to do with Pluto and Aquarius. Aquarius, first of all, rules anything that's progressive or forward. So sometimes spiritual things, sometimes spirituality, sometimes other things. And with Pluto, it's often about power and control, and sometimes, I'm just going to say my experience with power. I've had instances in which I've had power, and I used to think I wanted it when I was a teenager. And then somewhere in my 30s, I had it, but didn't want it. And then I've sometimes am given it back now, almost in my late 40s. And I'm like, do I have to? Because usually if you're in a power position and you have any integrity, you have to make decisions that are really, really hard. And I've had to do that recently, and it was really hard. So I think that Mars and Taurus square Pluto could, if you're especially, or some sort of action, maybe you have to take some sort of action or do something that represents change. Hopefully But I will say that it'll probably lead you forward. Pluto, while it likes to destroy things and take things away, or like sweep things clean or whatever, it still at the same time usually puts you on the right path, right? Okay. Now, all of that stuff over in Gemini is squaring Saturn at the same time. And I feel like that's also in a representation of the system and how you're doing things. And with Gemini, I'm just going right back to my online situation because Gemini, but it could have anything to do with any communication in your life or anything like that. So I do like that Pluto is in a sextile to Neptune, though. So I feel like that's like your vision going forward. So then you can at least see your vision going forward.
Yeah, because you have Mercury trine the nodes and sextile the north node, trine the south node, and you have that waxing Leo moon also trining the nodes. So what does that mean? Well, the nodes, we talk about the north node being your destiny, your fate, your future, your reason why you came here. In Draconian astrology, we talk about the dragon being the head. And then the south node, we talk about the south node being karma, past lives, what you came in with, what your how you might be in relationship with your past, depending on the house and the aspect. So the nodes are powerful this week. They're very involved this week because of both the moon and Mercury in really positive aspects to the nodes. So sometimes that can mean people popping into your life that you haven't seen or talked to or heard from, or summertime is obviously popular time for family reunions, and a sky like this would be like, yeah.
Maybe you get to see that old cousin you really liked or something, especially because of that minor trine over there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pointing at the moon in Leo.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was expecting you to point to that one, the minor trine with Leo at the top, which is pretty cool. It's a Leo moon.
Yeah, that's great. So, and with that minor trine, that's about communication and people from the past or situations from the past. And, in a sextile with the Leo moon, which probably would bring you in the light or put you in the light in a good way.
Yeah.
So, as we go on in the week, there's a stronger minor trine there. That's even stronger, pointing, but now instead of pointing at the moon, although it involves the moon, it's pointing at the sun, which is at 21 degrees Gemini, which I just feel like I love it when the sun is in a trine, because it usually means that it's pointing you forward. Okay. It's pointing you finally go, oh, that's probably what I need to do. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. And things kind of move forward. Not only do you have the idea, but you actually start taking steps towards that. And then,
and because you have Venus, and Venus is all about relationships, and you've got these beautiful trines to the nodes, there's maybe someone from your past helps connect you to someone that helps you move forward in your future. The trick there, of course, as Nadia Shah loves to say, is you've got to be out and about to make the sky work for you. Right. You can't hope for something like that to happen and then not go anywhere and not meet anyone or not be in relationship with anyone. So, and it could be very healing because you've got Chiron involved as well in the minor trine. So it could be very sweet. Really, really, really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And you might not even realize what a blessing it is because it's in such a sweet way. It's gonna just happen in a really cute, nice way.
It could be a really healing week so far.
So wait, I didn't get a chance to talk about the void of course moon.
Oh,
so
right.
As the moon is at the end of Leo, and of course Leo is a fire sign, and of course Leo is fixed fire. It's moving, it'll go void at 7:16 Mountain Time until 5:39 in the morning. So that's kind of a long one, but we've talked about how a lot of times it's between a half hour and 2.5 hours. I would say probably about 80% of the time. And then every like 5% of the time, you get these longer extended voids. So you have that happening on Tuesday night on the 11th, and you can adjust for your time frame, of course. And it's the perfect time to take the night off and do what feels good for you. Void of course moons mean that the energy is less intense. The moon, which represents our emotional energy, it means that there's just not a lot of energy. We don't want to initiate things during a void of course moon. We want to take care, wrap it up, self-care.
Well, so we're gonna fly on a void of course moon, so
Sounds like it.
so that might be
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, it should be very chill, no drama. You know,
Right.
that's what you do during a void of course moon, is do the thing where you don't want any drama. So
Great.
that could be, we'll see. This will be
Perfection.
fun. This will be good.
Perfection.
Yeah, there
Great.
you go.
Now, on the 12th, well, of course, I'm seeing what the moon's doing there, and I'm also seeing that Jupiter has come into a trine with Pluto, as well as, Uranus is also in a trine with Pluto. And I think that's actually really good. That's really pushing us in the direction that we need to go with Pluto and Aquarius. But it's probably making us maybe reflect on some things because Pluto is retrograde. So it makes me think like it's internal rather than external. So it's like something you're thinking about, or
Interesting.
maybe
Yeah.
you come up with a great idea, or somebody says something, and especially because Jupiter's in Gemini, somebody says something and you're like, oh, maybe that might work. So I feel like because Pluto and Aquarius, has a lot of implications like around AI and technology, progressive movements, the inclusion of everyone to be themselves, as well as things like medicine, and things like, progression. Think about things that lead us forward, and that includes medicine. So, and
Yeah.
it can include spirituality.
I like that. That's nice.
Yeah, it's in a trine to Jupiter, so I just feel like you're probably going to hear something maybe
Yeah.
on the 12th, or think of something, or something crosses your mind to help you get on your path. Because Pluto is retrograde, so it's probably going to be self-reflective or something.
And of course, when the moon is in Virgo, Virgo's a very nurturing, practical, solution-oriented sign. Of course, Virgo is ruled by Mercury as well. It's mutable Earth, and it's ruled by Mercury and Chiron because it's a healer sign, right? Virgo's a healer sign. So when the moon is in Virgo, it answers to Mercury and to Chiron. Mercury is in its rulership in Gemini, and of course Chiron is
in Aries there.
Yeah, it's in Aries. It's not aspected.
No. Yeah, it's actually in a sextile with the Sun and Venus and Mercury.
Right. Chiron is yes.
Which is a good aspect. It's a great, moving forward, talking about what we're doing, taking action. It should all come together very easily. That's essentially what a sextile is. It's when the parts that are challenging or different between the planets sort of falls back, and the parts that they agree on comes together. And so for Chiron, that's going to mean healing. And for the Sun, that's going to be about going forward. And Mercury is even about communicating maybe your needs or what you want, or having good communication or good relationships with people, and especially with Venus there as well. So
yeah, it could be very good time to be social, actually.
Right, exactly. So, and I think it's a pretty good day, even though the moon is in a square to Jupiter on the 12th. I don't think that will be that strong. Just because there's so many trines in the air at the same
Agreed.
time.
And because it's answering to Mercury in its rulership, also in its comfort place in Gemini, feels like Jupiter and Gemini, that,
Right. Now,
could be a good thing. Remember, squares, you don't have to be afraid of them. Squares are opportunities to do something, to make a choice, to make a change, to, squares can be a bit of a pressure point for sure. You can't stay in the middle. You need to make a choice one way or the other, but that's life, right? So we tend to feel them to varying degrees of intensity.
right. Now, on the 13th, we have a T square. So what does that? See that red triangle there in the chart? That is a T square. It has two squares with the sun. And this probably lasts a couple of days, is what I was looking at. Yep, last 2 days. So the 13th and 14th, which will be the sun is square. Of course, it's square Neptune now, and it's square Saturn. It's been square those two for 2 days now. So it probably will sort of slowly creep up as something you have to resolve, especially with your emotions and maybe taking care of yourself. Especially with like the moon opposite Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Well, that might be an uncomfortable experience.
That could be uncomfortable on the 13th and 14th, I think. Yeah. It's in opposition.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just going to be a matter of balancing, that moon in Virgo, which is very grounded and very earthy and health focused and all of that, versus the Saturn in Pisces, which is more spiritual and sort of spacey and vision. And so it might be challenging to get yourself grounded. I would recommend that you just make sure that on these 2 days you do your morning practice, whatever that is. Maybe make sure you do some yoga or something like that, just to keep yourself grounded, because there's still trines in the sky. Pluto's still in a trine to Jupiter and Uranus, and there's still a sextile with Chiron and the sun. So I just feel like, there's still a lot of good stuff going on. But at the same time, there's that T square, which could be a little challenging for the 13th and the 14th.
Yeah.
But at the same time, on the 14th, I think it's going to come together, because look at that. That's a grand trine.
Oh, yeah.
That's 2 grand trines, really. One with Jupiter and one with Uranus, both with the moon and Pluto. Because even though we have that T square still going up in the sky, we have 2 grand trines on the 14th. So by the 14th, it will be over. So whatever challenge you face on the 13th, 12th, 13th, it might start to sort of emerge on the 12th and then reveal itself completely on the 13th. And then on the 14th, it will resolve itself and things will be better. And you'll have that grand trine with, Jupiter and it's earthy. So is it? Oh, wait.
Everything but Pluto is in air, but you have
no, Pluto's in air.
Oh, it's in air. Actually, it's in air.
Yeah, I think it's a grand trine in air, because see, the moon's at 29 Virgo.
Yeah.
So that's going to go into Libra, which is air.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to be in your thoughts.
Yeah,
so whatever happens on the 13th, on the 14th, it's a grand trine in air. So that's really going to really help you resolve whatever bullshit or whatever is going on in your head. It'd be easier for you to resolve that on the 14th. Yeah. And I see that so when the moon is moving out of Virgo like that, Bright Hawk, it means it's going to go void, right?
Right. So the moon will go void just before 6 p.m. on the 14th. And this time it's only going to be void for like 20 minutes. So, each time is different. And I'm finding looking at the void of course moon to be a fascinating little thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Well, I'll be interested to see what happens during that time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always interested. I've been watching The Void now for quite some time now. It's interesting. Now, we continue with those trines, and I think now, there might be some stuff from the past that comes up that could be difficult, um, only because it's in an opposition to where you want to go. But for the most part, there's mostly trines, but there is I don't know. We also, I guess it could be kind of a balanced day on the 15th with a little bit of challenges there, with Neptune and Saturn still in a square to now, the Sun, Mercury, and Venus. Yes. Um, and it's mostly Neptune that's in most of those squares. So a square is solvable, like Bright Hawk said. So, it just might mean that you have to do better communication, especially with Mercury and Gemini. You might just need to communicate a little bit better so that everyone's on the same page.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the moon's
And the
in.
moon's in Libra. So, of course, when the moon is in Libra, Libra is a cardinal air sign. And so, again, we have a lot of air energy in the chart because of all of those planets in Gemini. Libra's the moon and the south node are in Libra, which is an air sign, and of course. And then when the moon is in Libra, it answers to Venus. And of course, Venus, it's already been,
Yeah.
actually, it's in a trine to Jupiter. So, yeah, the moon is answering to Venus at this moment. And
Up in Gemini. So it tells me
Yeah.
about communicating in
and
relationships.
that seems to be the theme of the week. We keep
Right.
seeing over and over
Right.
the nodes, the involvement of the nodes, and
It's probably my dog.
and we're gonna, we're now again into a waxing gibbous moon, so we're past the crescent halfway point, and that powerful trine to Jupiter. Of course, Jupiter is always an amplifying energy, so Libra, of course, loves to be very diplomatic, consider all options, wants everything to be fair, likes everyone to be happy. So again, we keep talking about relationships and communication. So I just keep seeing more of that.
Okay, and I think Father's Day is the 16th, which is Sunday. Yep. Okay. So, by the time we get to Father's Day, hopefully you've communicated about your plans. If you haven't, it could be kind of problematic in the moment. Hopefully you've communicated. That's what I'm going to say. And if you haven't, here's your last minute moment to communicate better about, hey, Dad, I want you to be here, or, communicate with your siblings what you wanted to do with your dad, or maybe you need to, maybe you're having a different experience, like maybe you didn't have a great father, and so Father's Day sucks for you, and maybe you're trying to find something else to do with that. So, whatever it is, make sure that you've communicated well about it and you've made some decent plans for June 16th, which is Sunday. And, there's lots of trines in the sky to support you, but there are a couple of inconjunctions. Those are like the dotted lines you see there.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd talk about that because inconjuncts are kind of like, what?
So and you can think of it this way: they're almost opposition, but they're harder than a square. So they're harder than a square, but they're almost opposite. So oppositions, the best resolution for an opposition is balance, right? Figuring out a way to balance that out. And for inconjunct, it's still kind of a balance, but it's also a little bit more solvable. It could be because someone gives in a little bit more, or with Pluto and Aquarius there, it makes me think maybe you let go of power and control, and maybe you just let it happen. Whatever's going to happen. But if you can see there's a lot of business going on in Gemini. So it makes me think about communication, and hopefully, you might just need to let it go, or maybe you need to find something different to do on Father's Day, or whatever it is. Um, it might require a little bit of letting go, or
And
overlooking things.
because the moon is opposite Chiron, it could be potentially healing. Like, what is it that needs to be healed? What is it that needs to be? Well, what I used to say sometimes is what's seeking to be recognized so that you can heal it. So, that's usually not comfortable at first. And as you get into that kind of material, but necessary and can be fruitful for sure.
Right. Well, I think that this day will still be okay, because there's still some really good trines to the moon there, with the sun and Mercury and Venus all up there hanging out in Gemini. Man, they are having a party up there.
I'll tell
So
you.
if you are socializing all this week, or you have a lot of social plans, don't be surprised there, okay? Because that is just that is the theme, I'd say.
For sure.
Okay?
Very
Yeah,
social.
yeah,
Right.
it's definitely very social energy. So my dog is snoring really loud. All right. And so that's the week.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna stop the share there. And since we're live, I'm gonna go ahead and say hi. Hi, Monica. We are doing our weekly forecast for astrology. So hopefully you were able to take some of that in. And like I said, check out where Gemini is in your chart. Where's Taurus in your chart? Check out what house it's in. Like if it's in the first house, it's going to be about your identity. If it's in the second house, it's going to be more about like money or your values. In the third house, it's going to be more like communication or community. And in the fourth house, it's going to be more like family and friends. Mostly family and house of origin and things like that, your home. And that's where all that energy is going to be, with that sun, Mercury, and Venus all together in Gemini. Now, if it's in the fifth house, maybe you're feeling super creative, or you're doing stuff with your kids. And then if it's in the sixth house, it might be affecting your job or your day-to-day life. And if it's in the seventh house, it's probably going to be affecting your relationships and the people that you're in relationship with. In the eighth house, the eighth house is a little bit harder to grasp, but it's mostly like things you don't want to talk about, or hard stuff. I find it's in my eighth house right now. It's making me make hard decisions and choose certain things, but it's also healing me at the same time. So be prepared for that. It will heal you at the same time. There's nothing wrong with that, and we all have to have times of healing. And then in the ninth house, it's going to be more like spirituality and higher learning and things like that. Okay.
And trips, which we're about to go on.
Trips,
which it's in my ninth house.
It's in your ninth house. Okay. Yeah. And then in the 10th house, up at the top of the sky there, it's going to be in relation to your job, your work in the world, or whatever you offer the world, okay? Now, in the 11th house, it's going to be more about the people you know and friends. And in the 12th house, once again, it's a little bit harder house to grasp. In the 12th house, it's going to be more about things you don't even see. You might even not even recognize the energy. You might not recognize that you're suddenly communicating better or worse or whatever, and hopefully better. And someone else might have to point it out to you. Someone else might actually point it out to you. It could also have something to do with like institutions, like nursing homes or hospitals and places like that. And it can also have a lot to do with like psychic abilities. So for the psychics out there, if Gemini's in your 12th house or you're Gemini rising, and you can look and see that the sun and Venus and Mercury are all there, that's where they're going to be affecting it. Okay. And Jupiter's there. So it should be in support, should be really good aspects, and communication should be really good. Socialization is really good this week. So all of those things should be going really well. And shoot. They're right. I'm gonna get my cards. They're right next to me. Sorry. I was out at Pride. I hope that you're getting out to Pride.
We were at Pride in Longmont, Colorado on Friday, and it was beautiful to always see community. And
yeah, it was beautiful. And it was great to do some readings for people there at Pride. I always love doing readings, especially with my Love is Love or Pride deck. You can find it on Amazon. It is an LGBTQ deck, and that's what we're doing right now. We're doing a reading for everyone watching. We're going to do a live tarot reading for the week, for this week coming up, including Father's Day. I hope that you have a beautiful week. It looks like it's going to be a pretty good week. The only days that are really challenging are like the 13th and 14th, okay? But you might just take some adjustment and you'll be okay, all right? So, as I pull these 3 cards, remember that whatever I say, take what you like and leave the rest. So, and this first card here is the 10 of Cups. Hopefully you can see that. And the 10 of Cups is really about relationships and coming together. And, you know, I'm not surprised to see this card. Not at all. With all that social energy in Gemini, it just puts a lot of energy in social interactions, relationships, and things like that. So that's exactly what this card is for. So in the past, so it's in recognition for everyone to recognize what relationships you're in, what relationships you were fun for you, and were celebratory. Okay, this is the good part of relationships, and this is also things that you've birthed, including children, but also like projects or other things that you may work on with your partner or with people in other relationships. Now, going forward this week, it's asking you to recognize those relationships and also recognize the balance of thoughts and what we're thinking and the stories we tell ourselves. That's really what the Ace of Swords is about. It's about your thoughts and your actions in relation to those thoughts. And that's exactly what this card is about, okay? So you can see there that the sword is in the crown, which is very much about it's very much about sort of bringing things up or raising the vibration of your thoughts. So if you find that your thoughts aren't that great this week, you'll probably end up working on making them better, okay? So because whatever you're thinking probably has something to do with what you're feeling. So so the two are related, in case you didn't know that. And so, you know, the sword there for the week, the sword for the week is really about your thoughts and balancing those thoughts and remembering how they affect you. And that's really what this is about. Now, going forward later on in the week and going forward, you will have a choice. And that's what this is about. This is a little bit of a conflict. It could be about making a choice. It could be about choosing. It could be about like straight up conflict with someone. But just know that it's solvable. And the best way to solve this kind of conflict is to think it through and to tap into your emotions. Hence why the moon there is at the top. This is also known as the Two of Swords. So it's a really powerful card in recognizing choices, yes, and also possible conflict. But just know that that conflict is meant to be. And this is for the future, for this like later in the week. So you might see this developing towards the end of the week. And you know, to just recognize that conflict. It could be a conflict within yourself, you know, very easily. I have conflicts within myself all the time. You know, like really, Hollis, don't eat that piece of cake. It's really not a good idea. Okay. So, okay. So remember, in the past, remember to recognize your relationships and remember your connection with people. And remember your love and what you've produced with those people. And then remember going forward, your thoughts and balancing your thoughts and your feelings and recognizing that they are connected. Okay. And so that's this week. They are connected. And then going forward at the end of the week and into next week, you'll probably notice that you've had to make a really big choice. If you haven't, I know I already had to, but you may have to make a really big choice. And it could be hard. It could be hard. And just tap into your emotions and your intuition. I'm just going to say for psychics and stuff, most of this week is pretty good. There might be a couple of challenging days, but that would be on like the 14th. But most of the week is pretty good for psychics. Neptune is still in Pisces, so that's helpful. And then the moon will be doing its thing. So it depends on what kind of psychic you are, like, because the moon is moving. I think it's going from like Virgo into Libra. So, and Leo, Virgo, and Libra.
Mhm.
So it will depend on where your moon is, and like, are you an intuitive psychic, or are you more of an Neptune based psychic? And if you want to know, I'm happy to do a reading for you. You can check out my website. There's a link in the description, and I'm happy to help you hone in your psychic abilities based on your astrology chart.
I've seen Hollis help a lot of people really wake up their psychic abilities and understand their astrology charts. It's a great gift to give yourself. Really, really valuable. And if you want to understand more about astrology in general, we put out a basic astrology class that you can get at our website, and it's in the description, and it'll help you understand what we're talking about, so you understand, oh, okay, I get how these systems all work, understanding the houses, understanding the zodiacs, understanding the planets, the rulerships. So it's a great little overview and basic course that helps you just really kind of, it demystifies it, hopefully. That's our goal, is to make it accessible, very accessible. And I get it. Astrology is another language in a lot of ways, and and learning that language, we've tried to, again, make a bridge to make it real easy.
Yeah, and I find I just love astrology. It's validating. It helps you understand yourself. It helps you understand your destiny. Helps you understand your kids. You can do an astrology chart for your kids. I did it for my grandkids. So I see you there, Monica, with your grandchildren. I'm like, you might want to just like I don't know.
Yeah.
You want to know what your kids' charts say. It has their destiny. It shows their strengths and their weaknesses and how to support them and how to help them. And as well as yourself and other people in your life, and even your relationship with them, which is what we call synastry, when we put two charts together and it helps us understand the relationship.
Yeah, it's very, very valuable. I honestly don't know how people navigate without it, honestly, because I feel like so much is revealed in your chart about your reason for being here, your purpose, your destiny, your relationships, your strengths, your weaknesses. It's all there, and it's like, wow.
I'm not sure how you get through life without knowing your chart. I started learning my chart when I was like 18, and I'm so grateful that I did. Although I don't know that I still completely understand it. I mean, there's still times that I take a class and I'm like, whoa.
Oh, it's endless. Because astrology has been around for thousands of years, literally thousands and thousands of years, there's so much you can learn. Oh my God.
Yeah, you could just go on forever.
It's just unbelievable. And it's fun that way, because you can go down little niches that some people do, some people don't, why you use certain systems versus other systems.
And that's why that 101 class we did was really cool, because that 101 class will pretty much kick you off, and you can go in any direction from once you get that class. And oh yes, Georgette, so much to learn, so little time. You got that right.
100%. 100%.
And with astrology, I mean, we love taking astrology classes. You know, we love to listen to astrology forecasts every week. And those are, it's just because it kind of helps us prepare, you know, for what's going on, you know, and what's going to feel good. And you know, so Georgette, it looks like we're gonna have a good week. So, you know, maybe you might be going. I think you said you were going on vacation. So look at that. And I'm going. So it's going to be good trines and stuff. Lots of socialization, lots of connection with each other. And that's what you really want to know. You want to know, okay, what day is challenging and how might it be challenging for me? And I think that's really like the blessing. So
Yeah, helpful.
yeah,
Very
I
helpful.
find it's helpful when I know what's going on. Like right now, I'm having major challenges in my 8th house, right, with Gemini, but I'm trying not to get swept up in them because I know that there's planets moving through Gemini right now, and so that it could be challenging for me, but I know it will be in my best interest in the end. So okay, so I just try to navigate it to the best of my ability. So 8th house, for those 8th house Gemini people out there, Scorpio rising. Yeah, most of the Scorpio rising people have 8th house Gemini. So,
There you go.
yeah. So, check out where Gemini is in your chart so you can see where the energy will be mostly this week. And I enjoyed doing this week with you guys. We just happened to do it live because, you know, it's Pride Month and we're super busy. Like,
And we wish you all the very best. Thanks for joining the conversation. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for liking. We appreciate your questions. It's been fun to see and interact with folks. We send you all lots of love. And thanks for listening to Rainbow Soul, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars.
bye bye.